You're about to experience a really helpful review and price prediction of Pi Network here, which I foresee Pi Network going from where it's at today at 16 cents down to 3 cents in the future. Because before I even go into this deeper review that I have prepared for you, before I go show you these 10 questions I ask every blockchain to review it, let's just start with the price chart, right? Because just off the price chart alone, this, even if you have the best technology in crypto like Internet Computer Protocol, just a price chart like this alone will consistently scare people off. And that alone is a huge uphill battle. And this is a billions of dollar market cap project, but there's a whole lot more problems here. Now, to begin, I could easily get a lot more views and a lot more followers and make a bunch more money if I just told you how great Pi Network was and hyped it up like almost everybody else does. But I'm making this video as if you're a friend, a family member, to give you my honest research of Pi Network because I want you to have the best information you can to really think for yourself and to see the reasons that most altcoins fail. And I don't like hardly any altcoins in crypto. Now, this is not financial advice and I'm not a financial advisor. And I hold 6,500 ICP because it's the best I've found in crypto. And therefore, I compare everything I've found to the best. And Pi Network does not stack up very well. This currently is a larger market cap than ICP, but this is on extremely shaky ground and has a very high risk of losing almost all the value it has right now. So let's look into the details of why I feel this way based on I've followed Pi Network for years as a part of researching thousands of altcoins, making crypto content since 2014. And at no point have I been impressed by Pi Network. Although I have been tempted in the past when I didn't have as much integrity to just make a video hyping it up so I could get all the subscribers and all the views like other people do. But I'm glad I don't do that anymore. So I have a fixed 10 question blockchain checklist I use that to me gets at the most important parts of a coin. The real question overall is simple. Is Pi a serious blockchain investment or is it a mostly centralized mobile app story wrapped in a crypto narrative? And to me, that's the truth here. This is a centralized mobile app story wrapped in a crypto narrative. Pi presents itself as a huge grassroots crypto movement, and officially it says tens of millions of people are mining on mobile, that the core team has 35 plus members, and founders Nicolas, Kokkalis, and Chengdiao fan are building an inclusive Web3 ecosystem. Now that's what they say. They say the app has 100 million downloads and 92,000 reviews and has ads on Google Play. But what is the truth about the blockchain and the coin? That's what I aim to find out. My first question, does this blockchain, so I'm not talking the hype and the marketing around it, but does the technology itself have technical capabilities that clearly stand out in a way that can matter long term? No, there's no major technical breakthrough here. This is the same basic hook that it's always had. You open the app, tap once a day, and feel like you're mining crypto. The official materials tie Pi to a mobile mining mechanism and a stellar-style consensus approach, but that's not the same thing as building a blockchain with truly standout technical capabilities. The real differentiator is user acquisition, not deep technology. And that might make sense if users were really happy with the mining experience, but they're not. We'll go into that further in just a minute. Second big question, can developers build useful products on the blockchain without major off-chain dependencies or third-party infrastructure? No. And this matters a lot because as AI advances and hacking and cybercrime continues to grow, cryptos where you have to build stuff off-chain are just going to get destroyed by hacking. Like we're already seeing it happen. Haven't you seen enough crypto hacks by now to see that you need a blockchain that solves for this, and only ICP does? Pi, meanwhile, has app tooling, a Pi browser, payments, and ecosystem features, but that stuff's almost all hosted off-chain. It does not have a full product stack that's actually on the blockchain. The creators are, in fact, the newest studio update shows creators are using AI-generated app iterations, test Pi payments, and ad-supported deployment so people can keep experimenting without paying Pi. This is not proof of some highly capable decentralized compute platform. It's just a controlled app system layered on top of a basic chain. And I don't see that, to question 3. This is not something that's going to last the test of time because it's not truly useful to the world. And therefore, this blockchain is not going, in most cases, to survive. because it's just marketing, it's just hype, and community and marketing consistently fade over time when better options are present. And internet computers present, and if you just want things similar to Pi, there's much better options than trying to tap on your phone and making almost no money doing that after having the KYC. So with the best case scenario for Pi is its mass onboarding strategy, but the actual blockchain doesn't look like there's much happening. There's a huge contradiction there. The third-party Explorer Pi scan shows about 15.68 million total transactions over about 8.7 million blocks, but the stats live indicate there's only 1 or 2 transactions a second on average at the time I looked and did this review. For a project built on the idea of massive mainstream adoption, that's more like ghost chain activity. So no, this does not look like, even if it just maintained this over time, there's not some indispensable blockchain product here. Question 4, is the demand for this blockchain's coin driven mainly by real usage rather than speculation? No. If real usage were the main driver, the chain activity would look much stronger. Internet Computer Protocol has thousands of transactions a second. Every second, all day, every day. And so does, that's comparable to Solana. Solana has about that same number of transactions. Meanwhile, the market cap for this Pi network is actually bigger than ICP. And you got thousands of times more computation happening on ICP and even more that we'll see. This 1 to 2 TPS though, like these are the things you gotta check when you're doing your own research. Check the narratives and check it against the actual blockchain data, and you'll see rarely do blockchains hold up. Even XRP fails. When you look at the transactions over time and what it's doing versus the narratives, it completely doesn't match, as I talked about in my XRP review. If there's any crypto you want me to have reviewed, just search for Jerry Banfield plus the name of that crypto. I'm trying to crank out as many of these I can. Number 5, do this blockchain's tokenomics, dilution profile, and valuation create strong asymmetric upside? To me, this is where I invest. Strong asymmetric upside means huge possible gains, like 100 plus X is possible, and relatively low risk. That's the dream, like buying Bitcoin in 2014. Huge upside possible, and how much more were you going to lose at that point? You could go to 0, but it was already not that far away from it. Pi's whole setup looks the opposite, which is why I predict the price going to 3 cents. I think in most scenarios, the price in this is going to keep dropping over time. And even if the price does go up in a scenario or two, you're going to need so much buying power or so much financial engineering that it's going to be very hard to sustain, and it's going to come right back down. And on top of this, this whole chain is built on users mining. Like that's the whole narrative. But the reality for that then, a big part of the user frustration is that the people who spent years tapping the app and wading through migration, KYC, and ecosystem promises are still not seeing a clean, convincing payoff. I've read Reddit posts of people saying they've spent years on this and made almost nothing. Plus, the more the price falls, the more the mining rates falls, the more the reward becomes utterly useless. Thus, this to me is a downward spiral. The tokenomics, the dilution, the valuation are in position for a fantastic downward spiral. And any review that's not covering those things is missing the most important things happening here. Number 6 is where it does get the first point in this review. Is investing in this blockchain aligned with crypto retail values? So this is purely like psychology. And psychology is important because a lot of our decisions are emotional. They're not rational. They're not reasonable. We're not thinking with this brain. We're just thinking with our hearts. We're firing at the hip, going with our gut, going with any kind of feeling. And Pi Network does successfully deliver on the values you would want to look for, at least in theory. Practically, it is an app that's centrally controlled, and therefore it's not actually building anything truly decentralized or empowering in the future, but at least it's not mainly signaling institutional adoptions, banks, CBDCs, big tech governments, or authority signaling like a lot of other cryptos are doing. So this does get a yes here. The branding is clearly retail first. The whole pitch is aimed at ordinary people, mass participation, and community-led adoption, rather than waiting for banks or governments to validate it. I do appreciate that part of this blockchain. And to me, an ideal blockchain would have all 10 of these things saying yes. Even Internet Computer only gets 8. But Pi Network does get its first point here because this, like crypto retail investing in stuff based on institutional adoptions is just insane. That doesn't make any logical sense. Number 7, is this blockchain decentralized and resilient enough to function well without heavy dependence on insiders, foundation, or any single organization? No, absolutely not. Pi depends heavily on the core team, the app store, KYC migrations, app level control, and a centrally guided ecosystem deployment. At this rate, there seems like that's never going to change either, or at least not in the next decade, because the whole system is set up around centralized control with the blockchain basically looked on top. And this is not what strong decentralization looks like. And this is why so many people say Pi mining sucks. It's just not the frustration of the low value, but it's doing a daily routine of trying to click your phone and being distracted instead of doing something more useful, like watching Jerry Banfield life coaching videos or Jerry Banfield gaming videos or Jerry Banfield crypto videos. All this that people are getting sucked into while centralized team sits on all the key parts of the system. Number 8, does this blockchain have a public-facing core development team with clear accountability and a strong technical track record? Now, yes, Pi Network does get credit for having public leadership. The founders are Dr. Nicolas Kokkalis, head of technology, and Dr. Chengdiao Fan, listed as head of product. It says they have 35 plus full-time core team members globally, which would make sense if they have a very active mobile app. But more than likely, most of those are working on the mobile app, not the actual blockchain technology. This certainly does not make the project great, but to me, I don't want to invest if you don't have a clear public-facing core development team and a technical track record of actually delivering. They have kept this mobile app going and managed a lot of users on it for a long time, so that's good. But the actual amount of work they're doing on the blockchain itself seems minimal, so again, totally centralized. Now, number 9, has this blockchain carved out a category where there's no stronger incumbent already owning the core narrative? No. Pi's niche is obvious: mainstream users, phone-based participation, and easy onboarding. But that's a distribution niche, not a powerful technical category. The real story is not that Pi owns some future-defining blockchain lane. The real story is built around a sticky app funnel and community identity, and now they're trying to slap AI on top of that story too, which just is a joke. You know, telling users to customize apps with the Pi AI button. You've got, what was her name on the core team? You've got her out there on YouTube telling people, Chengdiao Fan, you've got her out there on YouTube telling people, you know, that why Pi is an AI blockchain. It's ridiculous. It's blatantly misleading. And what they've really appear to have done is brought in some centralized AI and brought that into the app, and now they're calling this AI and making it out like it's an AI blockchain. And this, unfortunately, is a very typical move, but the blockchain itself has nothing to do with AI, and the mobile app's totally controlled, and they brought in some AI tools. And, you know, testing prompt-based app creation, Pi payments, ad-supported experimentation, this is ridiculous. I mean, I can just use ChatGPT, Gemini, and Caffeine AI to do about anything. I don't need, like, this stuff they're offering in here is just silly, and it has nothing to do with the blockchain. So it's just marketing language designed to keep Pi attached to whatever trend is going on. So there's nothing they've got here that they've really dominated the narrative on. In fact, it seems like you could easily create something like this, like they did with Bob on ICP. You could create something like this directly on the ICP blockchain where you could mine it on your phone. I mean, that's how not special it is. Last thing though, does this blockchain have a strong self-reinforcing narrative advantage where major holders, influencers, ETFs, VCs, or ecosystem insiders have strong incentives to keep promoting it and defending its position in the market? Now, yes, this is one of Pi's strongest points. They've got enough people on their mobile app. They've got, 1.96 million subscribers on their YouTube channel, 127 videos. They do have enough of an audience to just keep marketing, but that's not going very well. Like, even with all these people, like the Definity YouTube channel for ICP has like 20,000 subs by comparison. So with all these people, all these app users, and all these videos, and they don't put out any like research and development like Definity does, where they're making technical breakthroughs. They have like 1 or 2 often superficial videos a month. And they do have stronger branding and community maintenance. They do have users. But how long are users going to keep tapping an app and not getting anything worthwhile out of it? What I've seen is this is the slow just draining out approach. And the more the price goes down, the more the people will stop using. And a lot of these subscribers appear to be inactive. A lot of these videos may have got promoted. Who knows how they got promoted, but it's not necessarily organic traffic. At this point, their entire marketing seems like it's just going to continue to stall. But that said, they do have a position in the crypto matrix. They have their foot in the door with, key players like exchanges and things like that. Their narrative machine is real enough so that this thing doesn't just go to zero overnight like it would if people saw this kind of information and understood, the greater context. So it does, and ICP actually gets a no to this because the whole system of crypto is rigged against ICP because it's so damaging for all these other fake coins and projects. But Pi Network fits into the crypto matrix just fine. And that's one of the only things it really has going for it going forward. So my final take is, Pi is just a centralized mobile app with a crypto wrapper. That's the last thing I want to invest in. The app does seem to be big, but, is it growing or is it just sustaining and draining? The community is relatively big in crypto, but the more the price chart goes down, the more people will leave the community. The marketing's big and the YouTube channel's big, but the actual on-chain activity is tiny. Again, this is just straight up faking. Straight up, somebody's made a mobile app that shows ads and then makes them money in the app, and then they've thrown a blockchain on top of it to raise more money for themselves. That not anything at all I'd want to invest in myself, and this is the information I would want my friends and family to have if they were to look this coin up and somebody'd give them some straight real talk about it and to give a price prediction. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. If I didn't already say that, it's not financial advice. I have 6,500 ICP. I just care about you getting quality information when you go to search for something in YouTube or you're scrolling to see something where it's like, oh, okay, I should know about these things. And if you appreciate that, tell me what crypto you want me to review next in the comments. I reviewed Pi Network because people watching my reviews before you said, please review Pi Network. So here it is. If you'd like to see everything I have to say about Internet Computer Protocol, you can go to the Jerry Banfield ICP channel on YouTube, and you'll just get videos about Internet Computer Protocol there. I also have 5 other channels. I've got, if you're a YouTuber, I've got a channel for that. If you're a gamer, I got a channel for that. If you want all my dating and life coaching and weight loss and stuff, then check out this Jerry Banfield channel. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.